You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind. Free your mind.
What's up, folks? John Hodgman, Web Watchdog, with a new update. We all know that NOAA forecasted one of the potentially worst hurricane seasons ever, like 18 named storms and all this and that. And I forewarned, I was right on the tornadic activities, which I've shown you. The scalar rings and the harp rings, ULF footprints that caused them poor kids to decease in the basement there of their own school. But Hurricane Humberto, we already got Gabrielle off the East Coast, more like around the Bahamas area. But as I've seen the last few years, there's always a precursor. There's precursor hurricanes before the big one. Humberto actually replaced the name Hugo, which was disastrous for South Florida. Hugo did a lot of damage. But now Humberto hit Texas in 97, I believe it was. No, 2007. And did substantial damage. Here's a picture of it. Is that not in the region that I've been warning about? Got it all laid out for us. Here we got the bayou. I'm going to post this on my Facebook. Probably slap it on this video. But let me read you a little bit about Humberto. The origins of Humberto are from the remnants of a frontal trough, the same that spawned Tropical Storm Gabrielle that moved offshore South Florida September 5th. The combination of a weak surface trough and an upper-level low pressure produced a disorganized shower and thunderstorms from western Cuba into the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Tracking slowly northwestward, unfavorable wind shear initially inhibited tropical cyclone development, but late September 11th, which is not quite yet, environmental conditions became more favorable. There's your September 11th, folks. Oh, and by the way, Humberto, when it hit Texas, September 12th. So there's your number game. By late September 11th, environmental conditions became more favorable, and the following more convection increased over the disturbance, tracking around the western periphery of a middle-level ridge. The system turned on a slow northward drift and quickly organized. Radar imagery reported loose banding features, and buoy data indicated the presence of surface circulation, based on the observations of the National Hurricane Center. Classified the system as a Tropical Depression 9, while located 60 miles southeast of Matagorda, Texas. Let me see here. God. What the hell? I got confused and thought we were talking about the current situation, because you're telling me there was a Gabrielle at the same time in 2007 Yeah, it's Gabrielle that drug it along, and that's what we got right now, exactly. Gabrielle. Wow. Hurricane Humberto was a minimal hurricane that formed and intensified faster than any other North Atlantic tropical cyclone on record before landfall, developing on September 12, 2007 in the northeast of Gulf of Mexico. The tropical cyclone rapidly strengthened and struck High Island, Texas, with winds of about 90 miles an hour early on September 13th. There's your 13 number. It steadily weakened after moving ashore on September 14th and began dissipating over northwestern Georgia. It traveled that far east as it interacted with an approaching cold front. Damage was fairly light, estimated approximately 50 million. That's not too much. Precipitation peaked at 14 and 13 inches, while wind gusts to 85 were reported. The heavier rainfall caused widespread flooding. Exactly what the bayou doesn't need, guys. More water. Water doesn't compress. It's just a disaster waiting to happen. All this wind is going to blow all that shit everywhere, just like it's been doing towards Fukushima. You know, as I told you, those west typhoons. You know, you get hurricanes go to Hawaii, and then typhoons heading towards Asia. And it's just so obvious. You know, it's so apparent that this whole thing is about radiation, man. Radiation. Damage was, let's see. The heavy rainfall caused widespread flooding, which damaged or destroyed dozens of homes and closed several highways. Trees and power lines were downed, knocking out power to hundreds of thousands of customers. The hurricane caused one fatality in the state of Texas. Additionally, as the storm progressed inland, rainfall was reported throughout the southeast United States. Let's see what happened in Louisiana. Oh man. Look at this path, guys. Unreal. You telling me it came from the east, went west, and then went back east? Look at it. Exactly over the bayou there. Exactly. Look at that path. See what it says. Let's see here. Tracking through the state as a weakening tropical storm, Humberto produced light to moderate winds across southwestern Louisiana. Gusts officially peaked at 43 miles an hour in the state, although an unofficial reading of 55. Heavy rainfall occurred across the area, reaching a peak of 8.25 inches. The rainfall triggered minor river flooding among the Vermilion River in Lafayette. Storm surge was minor in the state, peaking at 2 to 13 feet. And Cyper Mount Point. No beach erosion was reported. Widespread freshwater flooding occurred in Bragard Parish, leaving homes in DeRidder flooded. High water across the southwestern portion of the state resulted in enclosure of several roadways, including U.S. Route 171 and various state highways. Isolated wind damage was reported, particularly near the border of Texas, with some trees and power lines blown down. A total of about 13,000 power outages, lost electricity in southwestern Louisiana. One F1 tornado briefly touched down in Vermilion Parish, blowing the roof off some homes, downing trees and power lines. Damage throughout Louisiana was estimated 525,000. So, what we got here, now they're talking about after the circulation dissipated, this is southeast United States. The remnants of Humberto brought moderate rainfall to the southeast states, spawned several tornadoes across the points of South Carolina, North Carolina. Widespread damage of some areas. Heavy rains in the Mississippi led to flood in low-lying areas. A small rail bridge was washed out, forcing passengers of an Amtrak train to take a bus. One person was injured after driving in a flooded street. Alabama got a lot of rain. Georgia got a lot of rain. What we're talking about here is spreading all this toxicity that's in that area. Just like Isaac, the way it lingered. You know, it just lingered. Man, it must have been there for 2 weeks. And then what happened with Isaac? It joined forces with Sandy. It got sucked into Sandy, went east, down the coast, where it met that cold front. It developed into the perfect storm, and I had a real bad feeling about that. And I was with you the whole time, man. I was pointing out everything when it was a little baby first starting. You know, kind of like this storm. But I had a real bad feeling about Sandy, guys, and I tell you, I got a bad feeling about this one too. We don't need that shit spread anymore. I mean, they lied about Isaac, saying it was a Category 1 when it was actually a 2, and wait, is it Isaac? Yeah, Isaac, which means laughter in Hebrew, and Katrina was more powerful, but it didn't linger as long. So Isaac did a lot more flood damage. You know, it didn't kill as many people, but flood is what's up. So anyways, I'm going to slap a couple pictures on this video, and I just think we should be on guard, guys. This is just too strange. You know, it's not really strange to me anymore, but it always surprises me.
Now, our hurricane specialist, Michael Lauer, is standing by with the latest on Gabrielle and Humberto and even another disturbance.
Yeah, Vivian, the entire Atlantic's really covered with tropical cyclones today. Take a look at our overview graphic. We have Tropical Storm Gabrielle, we have Tropical Storm Humberto, and we also have this area of interest in the Gulf of Mexico. All that we're watching today and all that we're going to cover here, starting first, though, with Gabrielle because of the immediate impacts that it's having in Bermuda. This is the latest information that we have as of the past hour. 40-mile-per-hour maximum sustained winds moving north at 12 miles per hour, just about 120 miles to the south here of Bermuda. I want to show you the visible satellite picture, though, because Gabrielle is pretty disorganized. It's seeing some strong upper-level winds at the upper levels of the atmosphere that are blowing off all the weather to the north and east. And this is good news for Bermuda because as the storm moves toward the north, a lot of the strongest weather is going to be to the east. But nevertheless, it's going to bring a lot of gusty winds and some heavy rainfall to Bermuda over the next few days. And unfortunately, it's going to be a slow-moving storm. So we're expecting this weather to continue really through Thursday. By the end of the week, though, there is a cold front that is digging down through the southeast U.S., and that's going to whisk it away out to sea and into the Canadian Maritimes. And we can finally say goodbye to Gabrielle. Gabrielle?
Remember I told you in 2007, Gabrielle is what drug up Humberto. The same exact scenario. Humberto wasn't much of anything, and it just suddenly, faster than any ever recorded tropical depression, turned into a hurricane, and headed this way, met up with Gabrielle and the other messes that are down there, and just picked the hell up and headed into Texas with the quickness, faster than ever recorded. Keep that in mind, okay? It's the same shit, different day, same exact date too. All right? Okay, check this out.
Goodbye to Gabrielle. Gabrielle, remember, was that storm that affected Puerto Rico last weekend, and then reformed overnight. Let's talk about Humberto. That's sort of been the meteorological interest storm of the past week or so because it could become our first hurricane. It winds at 65 miles per hour, moving west-northwest at 9 miles per hour. Pretty organized storm. It's leveled off in intensity here, but we still do expect it to intensify over the next few days into a hurricane. The Hurricane Center has it becoming our first hurricane tomorrow morning, and then eventually turning out to sea and then back as high pressure builds in, but it won't be a threat here to the U.S. Now, lastly, I want to get you to the Gulf of Mexico, where we're watching this area of interest, and this is really going to be the weather story as we get into the weekend. the Hurricane Center right now, this is just a tropical wave, and behind it we have a broad area of low pressure. That's what we're circling here. The Hurricane Center thinks that this has about a 60% chance of becoming a depression or storm over the next 5 days. Now we can track the spin. Right now it's a big, broad area of spin here in the Western Caribbean. So this is right now. Then as we move through the week, you're going to notice the spin becomes much more concentrated in the Bay of Campeche and the southern Gulf of Mexico, so that by the weekend, by Saturday, we could have a developing storm here in the southern Gulf. And thereafter, some of the models take it up into southern Texas, some of it it's in northern Mexico. So there's a big question mark here as far as where it goes. But we do know that regardless, it's going to have some coastal impacts here in the U.S. We're talking about that persistent onshore flow that can increase the risk of rip currents and lead to possible coastal flooding. So stay tuned here to the Weather Channel as we move through the week.
And on the end note, I'd like to point out how I've heard many of you on many different sites, pages, and groups talking about all these horrendous chemtrails lately. Especially Chemtrail Global Skywatch. You guys have been pointing this out a lot and taking a ton of pictures, you know, and showing all these massive chemtrail. And you saw I made a video just 2 days ago with chemtrails right over my head, you know. Well, I'm looking at chem clouds right now, and well, here's your reason. It's food for the monsters. You know, this is what it's all about, man. They need fuel. Chemtrails and chem clouds. It's all beefing up this mess. So, I mentioned before, you know, not to toot my own horn, that with the way America didn't back this bullshit war in Syria, we should expect a lot of negative results, you know, which I said, weather, earthquakes, and plagues. And have we been getting some earthquakes lately? You know, that was before, well, I think we had a 7.0 or a couple of 7.2s off of the Alaskan coast, and we had a bunch right off of Canada where that keeps happening. You know, it's hard to fathom, and damn sure hard to get somebody to believe. But I truly don't believe this shit's an accident. I think they're trying to jeopardize and compromise the San Andreas Fault for this big Cali event, or send a tsunami to Cali. I mean, USGS has just put out a big thing warning us about this. They need catastrophes, man. They want big catastrophes, diversions. And when you see all this shit going down, and I just put a video out and put some pictures up of showing you all the ULF readings. Why would they have to do all this shit if some planet was coming to graze the sun and wipe us out, or some dust was going to get up our nose from it and turn us all into meteor zombies? I don't know, you know. Why would they need to do all this shit if there's some polar shift taking care of it? Why do they need to radiate us? The shit is no accident. This is the New World Order at work, folks. This ain't Mother Nature. This is facade. This is genocide. But they gotta do it slow, man. 1 billion paper cuts. You know, so that we don't revolt. What's up, folks? You know, the weather gods are saying that Humberto isn't supposed to amount to a whole lot. It's supposed to be our first hurricane, actually, of the year. But it's supposed to go off to sea. But the connection with Gabriel and Humberto, you know, is the same exact as 2007. So that's just it's too crazy, too much of a connection. You know, I don't believe in accidents so much anymore. know, reminded me of another drill, like Hurricane Sandy, you know. Hurricane Sandy was a drill back in the 90s. I think that was 97. They had the Hurricane Sandy drill, and then it happened. So, anyways, but this buildup in the Gulf is very troubling for our potentially radioactive problem in the bayou, and the wind directions and the flooding and all that I've been prepping you for. So we need to keep an eye on that stuff, which I'll do. But I mean, the timing is exactly the same on all the scenarios. It's just amazing. So it doesn't feel right, not one bit. We all mentioned the chemtrailing, right?
You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind. Free your mind.